I'm 29 weeks pregnant with a baby boy. My husband and I were really excited when we found out because a few years ago we suffered from an unfortunate loss of our baby at 24 weeks. Our baby just wasn't developing correctly and there was nothing we could do. It was just one of those sad things. I went to therapy for it and came to terms with it, but my husband never did. As much as I asked and begged, he didn't go. Now, every time we go to a doctor appointment, he essentially has a panic attack talking about how we're going to lose this baby too. It's been happening since I found out I was pregnant, so it's been 29 weeks of this. After my last appointment while coming home, my husband told me we should start considering the worst and look into urns and cremation in case we lose this one too. This is where I told him he needed to go to therapy and I wouldn't be having him come with me to any more appointments because he's stressing me out. He told me I'm being unreasonable and he's being realistic, that I can't stop him from going with me because it's his baby too. This was last week and he has been cold and still hasn't made a therapy appointment and honestly has been kind of hostile towards me. I am what's considered a high-risk pregnancy. I know he's just scared we're going to lose our baby, but having him with me is maybe the cause of what could make us lose the baby because he makes me so stressed. Am I wrong in this situation?
My husband and I have been struggling a bit financially because we're saving up to purchase a new apartment. He is used to eating fast food when he went to work and he would spend more than $300 a month, which is about $20 daily. I talked to him about it and he agreed that I would make him sandwiches for him to take to work. Everything was going well and I noticed he wouldn't respond when I asked whether he liked the sandwiches I made, but kept asking me to make more than 2 since he was always hungry. Yesterday, he came home with some friends and coworkers and we sat at a dinner table when his friend brought up the sandwiches. He said they're delicious, but they're a bit pricey. I was confused, so I asked him to explain, and he said my husband sells the sandwiches I make to his coworkers and then goes and buys his own lunch from the restaurant. I began arguing with him after his friend left and he said there was nothing wrong with it. I told him I will no longer be making him sandwiches if he's selling them to buy fast food. He defended himself, calling this an overreaction since he's not spending money on fast food and said I was just being unfair to start an argument over this. I just walked into the bathroom and stayed there and he said I owe him an apology for God knows what and that he didn't think it was acceptable of me to lash out and say I won't make him sandwiches anymore. So am I overreacting here? Am I wrong for getting upset at him? My fiancé and I are high school sweethearts and we've been together for about 12 years. We were engaged for around 3 when he passed away due to an accident in the beginning of 2020. A few weeks ago, his brother came to visit me and he's planning to propose to his girlfriend. He asked me if he could have the family's engagement ring. The ring my fiancé gave me is a family ring which has been in the family for generations. I have been wearing this ring for almost 3 years and it's a symbol of our relationship. I don't feel ready to give it up. When I told him this, he got upset and said it's a family ring and it belongs to him now that his brother is dead. I told him to get out. I called his mom to let her know why I wanted to keep the ring. She told me she wouldn't have minded if I had been married to him, but I wasn't, so I'm not part of the family and therefore I should return the ring. She said I'll move on one day and it's unfair to hold on to a ring that I will never wear again, especially a ring that belongs to her family for generations. I would have at least considered giving back the ring in a few years. I just can't bear the thought of parting with this ring now. So I told her I'm sorry that she felt that way, but her son gave me this ring and I'm not giving it back. Since then, his mom and his brother have been spamming my phone with messages and calls about how I'm trying to steal their family ring. So am I wrong for wanting to keep the ring?
My fiancé and I are getting married in a few months and our wedding is on a Saturday. It's 3 days after his niece's 6th birthday. He has 2 nieces while I have 1. When we booked the date, we were aware that it was close to her birthday, but we figured because it was not on her actual date, it would be fine. His sister has recently asked if we could make our wedding a little bit more special for her daughter. She asked if she could pick out the dresses, for her to wear a tiara while the other 2 have simple headbands, and invite 1 school friend and 30 minutes to an hour of her music playing. She also wanted people to sing happy birthday to her. We said no to this. We want the flower girl dresses to all look the same and to go with the color scheme. Plus, we know that if the other girls see her wear a tiara, then they will also want one. We don't want some kid at our wedding who is not with their own parents. As for the music, it would be annoying, but all guests are welcome to request songs to the DJ. And I told her we can sing happy birthday after we cut our cake and we can bring her out a little cupcake. My sister-in-law is unhappy about this because our wedding means her daughter will not get a birthday party that year. And she thinks waiting until the weekend after is too long and it will upset her daughter. My partner is starting to cave, but I don't want to budge. He feels bad in the situation, but I don't. Am I wrong for not having a birthday party at my wedding? Around a year ago, my husband anxiously sat me down and told me he had discovered he had a long-lost daughter. According to him, he had an ex he got pregnant as a teenager, but she moved away before she started showing and without telling him. She gave birth and kept his daughter a secret from him. Eventually, she put Kat up for adoption. Kat now tracked him down and wanted to get to know him. As I am unable to conceive on my own, I was very enthusiastic and encouraging of them meeting. I asked him about DNA testing or speaking to the mother or adoptive parents. He told me all of that would come in due time, but based on the details she shared with him, he was 90% sure she was his biological daughter. Their first few visits together were private, but eventually we had a big dinner at my house. My husband has seen Kat numerous times since then, both with and without me present. About a week ago, a young man I've never met before messaged me on Facebook. He was Kat's ex-boyfriend and he wanted me to know that this was the woman my husband had been sleeping with. He must have misunderstood Kat's relationship with my husband. When I asked my husband about it, he started crying. He thought I went through his phone and found the text messages between him and Kat. Messages when she was in character, which is how he segued into telling me that they were in a fake, incestuous daddy-daughter relationship. When my husband told me that he had a daddy-daughter relationship with Kat, I felt sick and I started throwing up. He said that at the time, he had just come up with the long-lost daughter ruse as a panic impulsive excuse. When I was excited and encouraging of the situation, the two of them decided to take advantage of that opportunity. He told me he loved me, but not in any romantic way. That he had married me out of fear of never being able to do better. He considered leaving me well before he met her, but he had always been afraid I may hurt myself or start drinking again. I left and I have not returned home since. How do I tell my family? A few of them have actually met Kat before. I've posted Kat on my Facebook numerous times. Do his friends and coworkers know? What do I do about the humiliation? What do I do if my ex-husband dates or even marries his daughter, who I publicly accepted as my own? Should I move away, start all over somewhere else, and try to make different friends? The marriage is beyond saving, and there will be the normal burdens that come with that. I know. 8 years of my life have been wasted. The financial and practical and even heartsick issues I could potentially deal with. But it's a humiliation. I honestly can't even begin to explain how embarrassed of everything I am. I'm stuck. I have no idea what to do next with my life. Once when I was around 6 or 7, my mom brought home some delicious chocolate and gave some to me. I loved the stuff and stole the bar that she had saved for my stepdad. He comes home and my mom can't find the chocolate. She asked me what happened to it. I blamed the dog Duncan, knowing that he often eats things off the counter. I didn't know at the time that chocolate was toxic for dogs. My mom goes terribly pale and rushes Duncan to the vet, and he has to throw up. I felt terrible about this, and I thought it was because he stole the chocolate and was some form of punishment. So the next day she brings home more chocolate, and nobody told me that it was for Duncan's own good that he was taken to the vet. So feeling bad for doing this to Duncan, I gave him my chocolate, this time thinking he deserved it after taking one for the team. Later that night, my mom asked me how the chocolate was, and this time I decided to tell the full truth and explain that I gave the chocolate to Duncan this time as I felt bad for getting him in trouble yesterday. So after another late night trip to the vet, I was finally told that chocolate is toxic for dogs. Duncan was fine in the end. Now the twist is that the very expensive vet trips cost a lot of money, which prompted my mom to take a look at our expenses. That's how she found out our stepdad was hiding an affair and then got a divorce. I worked at a jewelry store in a mall close to my community college, and while my time there was short, I have experienced one person returning an engagement ring. It was the week of Mother's Day, and he was the first person I was able to sell diamonds to since I had completed my diamond certification course, or whatever you call it. He told my boss and I that he wanted to propose to his girlfriend, who also happens to be the mother of his 3-year-old son. Being my first customer, I put extra effort to make sure we found the exact ring he wanted. After searching for hours, he picked out the diamond that was a specialty diamond to the store, kind of like how Kay's has a Leo diamond. We wished him luck and never saw him again until a month later. He walked into the store and asked to speak to my manager. They were talking for about 10 minutes, and my boss proceeds to grab his shoulder because it looks like he was about to cry. And then he started the engagement ring return. After he left, I asked my boss what happened. Come to find out, his fiancée had said yes, but then I guess guilt started to settle in. She told him she wasn't sure if his son was actually his. Worst part of it all is he helped raise the child from day one and even involved him in the proposal. When I was in grad school, I worked as a tutor for undergrad students where I met my boyfriend who's 5 years younger than me. We had an amazing relationship. However, my parents were a little on the conservative side, and as soon as my mom learned about the age difference and his various tattoos, she was livid. They gave me an ultimatum. I would have to break up with my boyfriend or they would kick me out and stop paying for my education. My boyfriend told me it was okay and that my education was more important. He said we could always get back together after I had my degree, and despite hating it, I agreed with him. We broke up but kept in touch over the next year. He graduated and moved to a city a few hours away where my sister was going to school. 2 years after our breakup, my sister told me she'd been seeing someone for 7 months and sent me a picture. I could not believe my eyes. It was my ex-boyfriend. I texted him asking if it was true and I got no reply. I called my mother, who told me it wasn't a big deal and that they're letting her have her rebellious phase. I avoided my family and threw myself into work thinking this would help me forget. I found out they got engaged through our mother and later received a wedding invitation. The wedding is less than a month away and I'm clearly not over him. I tear up at the thought of watching him say I do to my younger sister. I don't know what the right answer is. Do I smile and stick it out because it's my sister? Prioritize my mental health. My boyfriend of 4 years proposed to me. I was extremely shocked because our relationship has been rocky the past year. As surprising as it is, I still felt overwhelmed with joy and excitement. He seemed thrilled and even had tears in his eyes while asking. I felt so emotional. The person I had loved for 4 years had asked me to marry them. But the thought of the randomness of the proposal couldn't leave my head. I practically slept on separate couches for the past 3 months. It was unsettling and confused me. Fast forward to the day after Valentine's Day and my fiancé breaks down and tells me that he can't marry me. He said it wouldn't be right and he wouldn't be doing it for the right reasons. I was confused and lost, and all I could do was question him about why he proposed and make me so happy. Finally, he confessed to me that my parents offered him $100,000 if he would propose to me. My family is decently well off, and they promised him that after marriage he would be well taken care of and won't have any struggle. This was something that he said he couldn't turn down, but he felt wrong and sick about living a lie. I went to confront my parents and they claimed it was true, but they only did it for my happiness since it's something they knew I wanted so bad. Am I the asshole for not continuing a relationship with my parents? This is now the hardest time of my life and I feel extremely guilty, but also have so much emotion and hatred for them. I focused on my career, and since I am single, I wasn't sure if having a baby would ever happen. So when I found out I was pregnant, I was overjoyed. My brother is married but has made it very clear that he will be child-free.
I got a shirt for my nephew to wear that says, "This is what an awesome big cousin looks like." I wanted him to wear it during our family dinner. My sister was the first one to notice the shirt, and everyone immediately began to assume it was my sister-in-law who was pregnant. I wasn't hurt at them assuming this because she is married. I was hurt because my sister-in-law didn't try to correct them. She just went along with it and began to rub her flat belly while laughing. I tried to explain, but they all didn't hear me and just continued to fawn over my sister-in-law. I got up and went home. I received multiple texts saying I'm an asshole for making this all about me and I'm just bitter. Morning, my sister-in-law must have finally let it slip that she is not pregnant. They have all now called me to apologize, saying that they all just got caught up in the moment. My sister-in-law sent me a message that said the way I chose to announce was how she wanted to do it if she ever got pregnant. She said that since she is not ever having a child, she wanted to experience what the moment would be like. To me, there's no fixing this. I will eventually forgive them, but I don't want to do a second announcement so they feel better. Am I the asshole?
Today's my niece's birthday and she just went to college, so I thought I'd get her a laptop for her birthday. Now, I'm a student myself, but I still want to give her something special, so I searched for a great used laptop and I found a decent Toshiba. I sold my PSP and some other things so I can afford it. So there we were at the dinner table opening presents, and she opened mine and had this grim look on her face. "This is it? I thought you'd buy me a brand new one." "No, I can't afford it. It's the best I can do." "Well, I want a brand new one, not this. This sucks. Worst present ever." She then shoved the laptop and box across the table and it fell on the floor. I picked it up and walked out, and my cousin tried to stop me, but I just said I would never give her anything ever again. She even had the nerve to call back and ask for the laptop. What is the most ungrateful thing you've seen someone do?